Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to season 3 of Is It Really Worth It? We'd like to start by thanking our sponsors, S&D Paving, for all of your construction, traffic management and tarmac paving work. They're here in Northampton. Hit them up. Safe and Secure Security Northampton. We'd like to thank you for your sponsorships too, and Fortune Favours Productions for all of your media needs. Thank you very much. Ladies and gentlemen, following on to our pod we did with Dr. Willard Wigan MBE at Wallerton Hall. We're here today with Willard's manager, John, who has turned Will's career around and put him with the team he's created back in the limelight, back to the very top of his game, and to all intents and purposes bigger than what he's ever been. So welcome John Bowden to Is It Really Worth It?
Thanks, Sean. Thanks for inviting me. Yeah, I'm great. How are you?
Yeah, how's things going?
Brilliant. Yeah, I can't complain. It's great to be here with you, so thanks for the invite. And I think you do an amazing job down here with the young kids. So long may that continue.
Thank you.
Keep on that road of inspiring them. And,
trying.
You know, it's all part of what we do with Willard. I think it fits in really well with where we are and what we do. It's a nice intro to get to say that you've actually turned someone's career around, because when I first met Willard, he was actually ready to give up public art.
He did, yeah.
And we were sat together, we met completely by chance in a pub, and we knew people that knew each other. So we didn't directly know each other, but we knew friends of friends that knew each other.
Yeah.
And after just talking to him for a short while, he said, look, you know, I'm the world's greatest micro sculptor, but I'm about to give up public art because it's brought me nothing but misery and nothing but problems. He said, yeah, I've had my highlights, but it just brings me pain. And we sat down and talked about it, and we just developed a relationship from there.
And a good plan.
We didn't really have I didn't really have a plan with Willard to start with. I was a bit of a troubleshooter, so he just asked me for help. He said, could you help me with this? Could you help me with that? And it was like, yeah, I can help you with that, and I can help you with that. And I just started doing that with him, which was just helping him with bits and pieces. And then one day he got an invite to it was a BBC interview, I can't remember where it was, and we were sat, you know, I was sat in the background and he was being interviewed, and he just said at that moment, and I'd like you to introduce you to my new manager, John, he's over there. And it was like, wow, I've been promoted. And that's where it began.
Brilliant.
So, you know, and that was sort of, I don't know, maybe 5 years ago, 4 or 5 years ago, and now we are where we are.
So from then, you must have had a vision.
I had a vision with Willard to find, see, with Willard, people had only ever seen what he does.
The glory, not the story.
Yeah, so people were tapped into what he was doing, and what he does is amazing. You know, you have to see it to believe it.
Incredible.
And it's difficult to comprehend what he can do at that level, that you're looking at something that actually doesn't physically exist.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
You know? And then you look through a microscope and think, wow, God, how did that
it does exist.
You know, is it a trick? And looking around it, you know, that's what people think it's a trick.
I've tried to explain, since knowing Willard, I've tried to explain numerous people.
Yeah.
They can't take it on board.
No.
Without the visual, the audio just doesn't, they don't get it.
No.
And I'm like, look, you've got to see it. You've got to look at this. Yeah. And they just don't get it. And you're like, once you see it, then you'll believe it.
You get it. Yeah.
And then the interest comes.
You try and explain to someone that most of his sculptures would fit within the full stop of a standard newspaper with lots of room to spare.
With lots of room.
People can't comprehend that. And it's only when you look at a glass box that's got a piece in without the microscope and you think, really? You know, I can see the eye of a needle, but, you know, what is it?
Yeah.
And then you look through the microscope and you're like, wow.
Yeah.
You know,
wow.
I've failed to see anyone that's looked at a microscope that hasn't had eyes that big and sharp intake of breath and loads of expletives that generally come out from people that generally don't swear.
Yeah, we heard them last week. We had a lot of them last week.
And you see it, don't you? You saw it for yourself at Wallerton Hall. You know, that, like, oh,
unbelievable.
And that's that moment of awe that people get from Willard's work.
And I don't think they'll get that from a lot of what they'll ever see in their life.
I think it's Willard's work is remarkable because it's the smallest piece of artwork that you will see, but it will leave the biggest impact on you.
Yeah.
You can go to the Louvre and see, you know, a whole host of different paintings there, and you can walk through galleries and miss stuff because it's all big and you see it, and it doesn't really stick in your mind. So you could walk through a whole gallery of art, and someone says to you at the end of it, "What's your favourite?" And you think, "I can't remember what I've seen."
Yeah. I don't know what my favourite is.
Or you think, what did I see?
Yeah.
You go and see a Willard exhibition, see his
Or
work.
what did it mean?
Yeah, what did it mean? What did the artist trying to get across? What impact did it have on you?
Yeah.
Because, you know, not everyone examines the art in that way.
That's right.
But with Willard's work, you look at that microscope and it's like, wow.
Yeah. And there's always, for most of his work, what I've seen, there's an explanation, a reason.
Absolutely.
He's just found a kind of niche, what's like, bang, it's maximum impact, isn't it? Once you it registers and you recognise what's in that needle, that's when the impact starts to, how did he do that? Like,
Yeah, it is profound. And what we've found over the years now of working together is I've helped Willard tap into his why.
Yeah.
Why he does it and what he gets from it. You know, and that's now showing in his work.
Yeah, well,
at his age he is now,
and he's getting better. Yeah,
you know, his work's getting more detailed. He actually looks at work that he did 10 years ago, 5 years ago, and he doesn't want to acknowledge it. He'll have photographs.
I didn't build that.
Yeah, he'll have photographs of work. So people interview him and say, "Can you send us some images?" And 5 years ago we'd sent some images. Now he looks at that imagery on screen and he goes, "Oh God, that's shit. I don't like that." Everyone's like, "Wow, that's amazing," but Willard's like, "Oh shit, I don't like it." You know, because now he's actually got so much better that he looks upon his work, which will blow people away, but he'll look at it with his own critical eye and think it's not good enough.
Yeah, yeah.
I can do better than that.
So he's his worst critique as well.
Yeah, he's his own best, worst, you know, sort of focus to get further forward.
Yeah, brilliant.
Because, you know, what Willard has in spades is ambition. You know, and he's always had ambition. You imagine as a child, you know, 5, 6 years old, he'll have told your sort of podcast viewers the story, so I don't need to repeat it. But you imagine 5, 6 years old, you know, and then you get to 10, 12, 15 years old, and you've got a guy that is struggling with education.
Yeah.
You know, struggling with where he fits in. Not only has he got the desire and ambition to be somewhere, but he's invented his own job. Because who would sit there and say, "I'm going to become the world's greatest microsculptor"?
What school would ever say, there is a choice in this job for you?
Absolutely. Yeah. Because most people say, "Well, microsculptor, what the hell's that?"
Yeah, what's that?
Because all those years ago, there was a handful of people in the world that were doing it. You know, so to say that you're going to become that, so Willard had the ambition and desire to be his own lead. He wasn't following anyone, he was creating his own path to where he was going.
Yeah.
And he just knew he was going to be the world's greatest.
Well, a friend of mine was just saying this morning about the guys what do the sculptures in the grains of rice.
Yeah.
That's not sculpture.
No.
That's like a chisel and hammer.
Yeah.
He doesn't want the pinhead of a pin.
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, Willard's got the greatest respect for other artists that are doing miniature work.
Yeah.
But I haven't seen anyone's miniature work that is at the same level of detail.
No, nowhere near. John,
achieving.
I've looked.
Yeah.
Trust me, I've looked. There's a lot of Chinese guys what are getting into this mini sculptures now. They can't. They can't even touch it. Nowhere near.
No,
nowhere near. But it's not just, since you've managed Willard, it's not just been about the sculptures, because you've kind of taken Willard onto the road now for inspiring the next generation of kids coming through.
Yeah.
You know, you've got the foundation, you know, small things matter. You've got so much going on, what's giving not just to an area, to the world really.
Yeah.
You know, to inspire the world. So what can you tell us about the foundation, John?
Well, I believe that's Willard's legacy.
Yeah.
I believe it's where he really fits in life, is to inspire others, because his journey is so inspiring from where he began.
Yeah.
to where he is now, from what he was told he couldn't do and what he wouldn't become, with his learning difference that was, for many years, told him was a disability, you know, but it's not, it's a difference. It's not Willard can't learn, he learns differently. And if you understand that he learns differently, then you teach him differently and he'll learn differently. So Willard's kind of message now, is work as a message, and it's always been a message.
Yeah.
Just people around commercially have seen that as what he is, but actually that's his message.
That's right.
Which is small things really matter, and
yeah.
they've always mattered.
They've always mattered, not just, but they should matter to a lot more people.
Absolutely, because it's the smallest things that we do in life that can have the biggest impacts on someone. You walk past someone in the street and say good morning, or you walk past someone in the street and they're buried in the phone. You know, there's a big difference.
Yeah.
You know, I saw a child leaving for school, and mum's, you know, at the doorstep. Kids like walking down the street, mobile phone, and mum's like, "Love you," not a word.
Not a word. Nothing.
And you see the disappointment.
Yeah.
You know.
But I think that's society in general now, that they've wrapped up themselves in these technical, you know, phones, iPads, and I don't really understand them, to be honest, John. I'm not that generation, do you know what I mean? I'm still in
Although you're podcasting, mate, you're not doing such a bad job.
I'm not setting it all up, though. I'm not the one setting it up. Yeah. But the technical generation now, the kids coming through, is taking away their activity. So a lot of them would rather sit at home on a phone than let themselves be inspired by either Willard's work or going out of their comfort zone and, you know, getting to it. But then again, we say get them to a youth club. The governments have took all the youth clubs away.
There isn't anywhere for kids to go.
There's nothing. No. And this is the sad, you know, that it's not just sad, it's horrific really for their future. You know, they've got nothing. They've got nothing to form a balance in their life with, and especially these single parent families.
Yeah, it's difficult, you know.
We were down at the East of England All Points East Festival a couple of weeks ago. We done a live podcast down there, and I'll be honest with you, John, I froze. And it, you know, it was live in front of an audience. I've got a European champion, I've got a British champion, and I've got a young kid, a very, very, very gifted boy. He's only 17. But I froze, and it was about a 12-second window, and I was like, and I only had 2 more bullet points to get through, and I just couldn't get there. Yeah. Well, I took it totally off path and stood up and started interacting with the audience. Yeah. And I've asked them, and I'm going to keep working this because I don't know where this came from, John. Honestly, I just do not know where it came from. I asked them about, have you seen the adverts on telly for sponsoring a whale? Everyone was like, yeah.
What's that got to do then?
Yeah. You sponsor a tiger, sponsor a lion. Yeah. Do you ever get to see them? Do you ever go for a swim with a whale, or do you ever mess about in the jungle with a tiger? Yeah. But we can all see a kid stood on a street corner, and if we're not related to him, or we don't know him, we know someone who does, and we know he's going to be involved in knife crime or gang crime or drug culture soon. Yeah. So why can't we sponsor him? Okay. If he don't feel equal to his peers because he ain't got no training shoes, why can't we get him a pair of trainers and get him to a gym? Get him into something positive. I've never had a reaction like that from an audience. They all started doing somersaults. I was like, what the fuck?
But it's a small thing.
It's the small things, you know, buying him a pair of shoes or a tracksuit. He might not have a track. I don't want to go outside the house because I ain't got a tracksuit. All my mates have got them. So what you're doing with the foundation, you're inspiring, you're giving these kids a chance and an opportunity to know that they are worth it. They are talented, they have got ability. It's just about how they're applying themselves.
So we visit, the foundation is a community interest company, so it's not for profit. We put money into it, and we're looking for funding to get Willard into underprivileged schools throughout the UK and the world, to be fair. We've got a whole host of video assets that we're building so we can deliver a Willard message multinationally, using training assets and video assets and worksheets that go with it. Yeah. Because Willard's mum told him when he was a young child that his work was a grain of sand and it could create a tidal wave of success. And when I first met Willard, his tidal wave of success that he thought was MBE, world records, internationally known.
Kind of blown out.
You know, and that's what originally the thinking was behind the tidal wave of success for his work. But when we met, I saw something different.
Yeah.
And I said that I think small things matter, they've always mattered to Willard.
Yeah.
And I think your tidal wave of success, we all know you can't really throw a grain of sand in the ocean and create a tidal wave of success. You can't really do that. But if you get a grain of sand and I get a grain of sand and everyone else picks up a grain of sand,
and we all throw it at the same time,
a huge grain of sand
Yeah.
that we throw in, then we get a tidal wave of success.
Yeah.
So I think Willard's tidal wave of success is actually in the amount of people that he touches with his work and
Yeah.
touches with his story in a profound, inspirational way, which other people then understand that small things matter.
Yeah.
Because Willard's work is a message to people that small things really do matter. And it's often the smallest things in life that can have the biggest impact
Yeah.
on
Yeah.
yourself
Yeah.
or someone else.
Yeah, definitely.
So, you know, our program through schools is based on FAIR, which is spelled F-A-A-I-R, which is focus, awe, ambition, inspiration and resilience.
Yeah.
Now that is what drives Willard. He's extremely focused.
Yeah.
His work is awesome. You can't look at that and not take a shot and take a breath. That is awe. It's like, oh, wow.
Yeah.
How did you do that? He's got heaps of ambition. Still got it now. He wants to break his third world
Yeah.
record. He wants
Yeah.
to
Oh, he's not
travel across
finished.
the States. He wants to inspire as many people as he can with his own
Yeah.
story. So heaps of ambition. Inspiration, I mean, you know, Willard's inspired by people and inspires
A lot of
others,
people,
you know, with his
yeah.
own story. And as for resilience, well, could you meet a more resilient character?
With what he's gone through, John, I think, you know, we both know what he's gone through. It's how he's come out. And a lot of it is down to the people he surrounds himself with.
Absolutely.
But how he's come out of where he was, it's like he's just totally shedded his old skin and he's like,
Yeah.
bosh, he's a new man, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And even when we speak now, he seems to be getting younger. You know, like the way he's talking. He's just active all the time, do you know what I mean? And it seems to me, I was saying the other day, like Peter Pan, you're going that way.
Yeah, absolutely. You know what, I hope it rubs off on me,
yeah,
mate.
we're all going that way and he's going that way.
Yeah, I'm hoping it rubs off on me.
But
so,
yeah, it's whatever you're doing,
Yeah.
you're doing a good job of.
we're
do
a
you know
good
what I mean?
team. You know, we've got a team of people. It's not just me. We've got a team of people around us that are great and
Yeah.
amazing. We're all, you know, like so many things in life, as if you're all going in the same direction, you're going to get there.
You'll get the same goal.
You know, if you're all going in different directions, then you're all going to end up at different destinations.
Yeah.
And I think I see a side to Willard that other people don't see.
Yeah.
I see Willard when he's interacting with children that are just inspired by him, his journey and his work. Other kids with learning difference that have been told or
They'll never-
believe in themselves, there's something wrong with me.
Yeah. They'll never be anything.
I'll never get anywhere, I'll never be anything.
Yeah.
We met this, and I won't name him, but we met this young lad at a specialist school in Nottingham. Before he came in, you know, the teacher said, we've got to be a little bit wary because he can sort of lash out and stuff, or he can just storm off and leave the room because he struggles being in an environment with people that he doesn't know and in strange environments, and he's been here a while. And each time we ask him, he's about 15 years old, this young man, and each time we ask him what he wants to be when he grows up, he said, I don't want to be anything. What do you want to work? I don't want a job. I don't want to go anywhere, you know. So,
And what age was he, John?
about 15. So he comes into this workshop that we're doing with Willard, and we start doing something really simple. He listens to Willard, he's quite engaged, and we start doing some very simple tinfoil sculpting. So Willard's making sculptures out of tinfoil for kids. And this one particular lad, I went over to him and we start building a car together, like a tinfoil car. He gets engaged in it and makes the car. Willard's going around talking to the kids, helping them sculpt, telling them about his life and just encouraging them. And this kid makes this like great sort of little race car out of pipe cleaners and bits of tin foil and bits of cardboard.
This is the kid who thought he's never going to be.
Yeah, this guy's not going to be anywhere. And the teacher who was leading the session, at the end of the session, went up to him and said, what do you think to that then? You know, is this giving you inspiration about what you'd like to do or where you'd like to go? He said, you know what, I want to be a car designer. So, and the teacher, you could see it in her face, she was so emotional that what a breakthrough.
Yeah.
This kid has been here for a while, doesn't feel he can be anything, go anywhere.
And this was his first workshop with Willard?
First workshop, yeah. It spent 40 minutes with Willard, and he was so inspired by him that he wanted to become a car designer. Now, you know, whether it's a fairy tale story and he does become a car designer, ends up a famous car designer, and in 20 years' time we're all driving cars that this kid's designed, brilliant.
Yeah.
But even if it isn't that, even if he's only switched something on within him, that he now wants to be something.
He's got a goal.
You know, he's got a goal.
Yeah.
He wants to be somewhere. And it's that interaction that I see, which I think that's so important for Willard and his work.
And the little things making the biggest impact.
Exactly, because that was something really tiny.
Yeah.
Working with someone doing some tinfoil sculptures, and we don't know the massive impact that's had on his life. And we won't know that for 2 years, 5 years, 10 years. You know, you won't know that. And that is something so tiny that could then develop into something so big. You know, there's nothing stopping him now inspiring someone else. Absolutely. Yeah. You know, he could be the next whoever designing a car just because it came from there. And that's not an isolated experience. This happens all the time when we're in schools with Willard. We have kids the same kids that you'll meet. You know, that like say knife crime, stand on the street corner, don't feel the fit in, disruptive, get more of a kick out of causing a problem than they do doing something good. Yeah. We've had the same kids in class that are not engaged, throwing things across the room. And the moment we start talking, the moment they engage with Willard, there's like a,
yeah,
wow.
It's brilliant, isn't it?
There's that connection for people. And it's a connection because it's not judged. Because Willard is connecting with people through creativity and art. You know, and he's connecting with people on a level where he's not judging them. He's not walking up to people and saying, that's a bit shit.
Yeah.
Doesn't look anything like an elephant. You know what I mean? What do you mean? Not like anything like it. Yeah. Willard's very encouraging with, wow, that's amazing, it's brilliant. Yeah. And to have the world's greatest micro sculptor tell you that something you've made is brilliant. Wow. Yeah. That's like a world championship boxer coming to see me at a few pads and says, you know what, you're talented. Yeah. I see something in you. Yeah. You know, that's all.
And that can change your kid's life.
Absolutely, because then it's belief. Yeah. You know, we was in again, we're, you know, sort of on a stage with a load of kids, and I stood up and introduced Willard and said, does anyone in the room know what ambition is? And, you know, these are kids that are sort of 6 to 8 years old. So it's quite a big question, ambition. Yeah. Little hand light shoots up at the back. I'm like, yeah. And he stands up and said, a strong desire. And I looked at him, looked at his teacher. I thought, wow, where did that come from? Because that's almost the Oxford Dictionary kind of a breakdown of what it is, which is a strong desire to do or achieve something. And I said to this room full of children is that when you look at Willard, the one thing he's got in spades is ambition. Yeah. And even to this day, he's got ambition. And it doesn't matter if you're the top of the class, bottom of the class, if you're an A-grade student or you're flunking out, if you're in the sports club, not in the sports club, if you're the best, the worst, doesn't matter what colour you are, what language you speak, whether you're non-verbal or not, if you've got ambition, it sits here. Yeah, you can get. And it can't be taken away from you. Yeah. No one can assess you on ambition because it sits within here.
And it's how bad you want it.
Absolutely. And if you've got ambition, look where ambition took Willard. Yeah. We're not saying education isn't important because of course it is. Reading and writing, it's important in this day and age. But you've got AI these days and artificial intelligence. Yeah, and it's catching
up.
Doing all kinds of things for people where as humans we're becoming a bit lazy and the machines are doing everything for us. You know, but you've got Willard there that, you know, with the message of ambition, which you can't bottle.
And inspiration.
Inspiration, yeah. And if you've got it, and if you've got an ambition to be somewhere, then you can be there. It just needs a bit of encouragement from someone like Willard that can just turn that switch on. Yeah. And that's a small thing.
Tiny little thing.
Going into school, it's a small thing, just turning the switch on for someone to think, do you know what? I've got loads of ambition.
Yeah.
He says I'm shit, or she says I'm shit, but you know what? I'm going to be the world's best. Because Willard said he's going to be the world's best. And as if by magic, he is the world's best.
Yeah, yeah.
How did he get there?
Worked.
I mean, you look at Willard's life, he invented a job that didn't exist.
Yeah, yeah.
And has then made a life around the job, and has then become internationally famous and revered for the job that he invented.
You know, they're talking about him in Hollywood now.
Yeah.
In the actual film.
Yeah, they're talking about, in Lucifer.
Is it Hannibal?
Hannibal.
Hannibal.
Hannibal, that's the one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I never knew. My nephew phoned me and said, your mate's just been on. What are you talking
There's a
about?
great microscope to Willard Wigan.
Yeah,
Hannibal's like, who?
Yeah.
Yeah, it makes it sound a microscope.
Yeah.
Wow. How did that? Willard phoned me, he's like, John, I'm on Hannibal, it's amazing. You know? So, yeah, we made it to Hollywood.
Yeah.
You know?
But it's little steps, it's little steps.
Yeah, well, there are people talking about a film of his
film.
life,
Yeah.
you know, and there is a script out there for, you know, he's already been a part of a Channel 4 award-winning documentary,
yeah.
You know, World's Tiniest Masterpieces, which was an amazing piece of film. It is fabulous.
Yeah.
And we're really fortunate because we've got permission from the producers to be able to share it with our subscribers.
Great.
Because it's now no longer available on More4 or E4, so you can't actually get hold of it. But with our subscribers, we can sort of show it to them because it's a masterful piece that shows Willard's life and his rise. And I think within that, buried within that, there's the greatest advert for autistic people that's ever been created.
Yeah.
Willard goes to the fertility clinic at Oxford University, and he's being shown how to operate this huge microscope that inseminates, you know, a sperm into an egg. And Willard goes along to the university to operate this piece of equipment. And it normally takes months and months and months to train people to use a piece of equipment. Within 20 minutes, Willard has sat down, he's twiddling the buttons and the knobs, and the lady the professor who's showing him how to do it says, yeah, you do that, you do that. 20 minutes later, Willard's done a successful insemination of sperm and egg. You know, that's no training. He didn't do biology, didn't do physics. You know what I mean? Can't read or write. But you imagine that as an advert for autistic people. It's like, well, actually, the key bones of this.
You've not told me about this.
Yeah, the key bones of what you need to do is you need to put that in there using this. Well, you don't necessarily need a degree in biology or 5-year doctorate to do
get that to there.
Essentially, that's what you're doing. And Willard did it. So we're now allowed to use that footage to promote actually the hidden diamond within autism.
Yeah.
As I said earlier, you know,
The diamond in the dustbin.
absolutely, that's what Willard tells the world that he was himself.
Yeah.
The diamond in the dustbin, you know, waiting to be discovered.
Yeah.
School and society as a whole had put him in the dustbin as this, like, lost cause. Can't read or write, you've got autism, and let's face it, you're black, you know, so the bottom line is, you're just about fucked. You know?
Exactly what, do you know what?
That's the bottom line.
I've said to Willard, you're exactly the same as Marvin Hagler.
Yeah.
He was a southpaw, he was good, and he was black.
Yeah.
Anyone wonder why it took so long for him to get a world title shot?
Yeah.
And you remember Hagler, you know what I mean? We all know what he went through.
Marvellous Marvin.
Marvellous Marvin. So, where do you see 5 years' time?
Well, what I see now is we've created a collection that began in Nottingham, which you'll have seen at Woollerton, which is Disappearing World.
Yeah, amazing.
Disappearing World is a message of Willard's that's really a warning to humanity, a small warning to people that the natural world around us is rapidly disappearing. So Willard's work, Disappearing World, Willard's work itself disappears without the microscope. So without looking at that microscope, you can't see Willard's work.
Yeah.
And Willard started with the natural world, the story of the ants and his carvings and making houses and swings and seesaws for ants. And I've been around Willard a long time to know that his connection to the natural world is real.
Yeah.
You know, we were driving from my office about a month ago, and Willard saw a dragonfly on the canal, and he asked me to stop, bearing in mind I'm on a busy road at a set of traffic lights. He asked me to stop and pull over so we could get out and see this dragonfly because it was really rare.
Yeah.
You know, so Willard's connection to the natural world is unquestionable.
I've walked the dog with him, John, and the things what I miss.
Absolutely.
He doesn't miss, even down to a beetle.
Yeah, it's important to him.
Like, wow.
Yeah.
I would, and since then, I'm kind of looking for this.
Yeah. But it's a small effect on you.
Yeah, the little.
Willard's had a small effect on you, and you know, Disappearing World is the connection of Willard's work to biodiversity in the natural world, which is a message. Hopefully, when people go and see the exhibition at Woollerton Hall, what we want them to take away from that is that small things matter.
Yeah, but the contrast.
Yes.
That's what always gets me. I've been there 3 times now, John. That's what always gets me, of coming from the T-Rex room, walking around with all the fossils, the animals, and then bang, the impact of Willard's room.
Yeah.
It's like, it's surreal.
Yeah, it's amazing.
It's just like, you can't, from going from that, you can't comprehend what's about to happen.
No, it's profound.
Until you come out and then you go back into that big room and you think.
So we've got 2 collections in there. We've got the Just Masterpieces collection, which is his kind of miniature masterpieces from his collection of art.
Yeah.
So there's a 16-piece collection in there, which is from his back catalogue, which has got some really cool sort of pieces in there, like The Last Supper.
I love, that's one of my favourites.
The Bird's Nest, The Speck.
Yeah.
You know, so there's some great pieces in there. And then we developed this concept of message, because we'd like to create an art trail throughout the UK, where we're hoping to talk to people like Eden Project, for instance.
Yeah.
People that themselves are doing something small that has a massive impact.
Yeah.
Because what we'd like to do is have Willard's work on display in places like, I mean, if you look at Woollerton's a natural history museum.
Yeah.
And the kind of taxidermy animals that they've got in there, at the time it's a bit of a conflict, because you've got taxidermy animals which inevitably had to be shot to get there. You've got to think back in the day when people were doing that, not only were animals pretty abundant, but we didn't have Google.
That's right, there was no knowledge.
So the only way to build knowledge was great explorers went out there, captured knowledge,
and brought them back,
and then they showed them, and then they investigated them.
Yeah.
So rightly or wrongly, it was just what was done at the time. But Woollerton is now a database of DNA for lots of extinct species and animals. So they've, within the fur, the teeth, and all that, so the DNA is still there. So as things progress, who knows what Woollerton will become, because it goes from being this sort of kind of taxidermy kind of place where some people prefer to see it in the wild than see it there, but actually you can't, because there's no more of them left. So if you didn't see it, you can't see it. So Willard's collection of Disappearing World fits in really well, because there's lots of species that are extinct that are at Woollerton Hall, and Willard's collection is a reminder to people that if his artwork can become something that reminds you when you leave to make a small change in your life. And that small change is not being dictated to you by a government or a leaflet or a poster in there. There's nothing saying you must do this, you must recycle more, you must throw your litter in the bin, you must eat less burgers, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But inevitably, if you look at Willard's work and you look at the message that's in there and you take that away and you think, do you know what? I'm going to make a small change. I'm going to make one.
And that small change,
if enough people do it,
can turn into that tidal wave.
Massive, becomes a tidal wave of success.
Yeah.
Because there's a difference, I think, between the government and the environmentalists, everyone on the bandwagon sort of hitting you over the head with the environmental stick, and people are like, oh God, I'm just sick of hearing this. But when you're connected to art and you look at Willard's work and you think, do you know what? How tiny is that, and what impact has that had on me?
Yeah, and I understand the meaning.
If you understand that message and the concept of it, we'd like to get various venues around the UK that can connect to Willard's work and message of small things matter.
Yeah.
For the general public that are visiting to take that message away. And whether you choose to make a small difference, even if you just choose to be nicer to your parents, nicer to your kids, if you choose to eat less meat or you choose to recycle more, that's your choice to do.
You made a small change.
But if you make that choice, you're making a difference.
Yeah.
And you become part of Small Things Matter.
Yeah.
And you can infect people with that. And it's a positive infection.
Yeah, it's so spreadable.
Yeah. Like you've said, Willard has had an effect on you now where you're going around being more mindful of the natural world, and you're noticing things you didn't notice before. Well, how brilliant is that?
Yeah, yeah.
Just the fact that you notice
a
it.
lot of things, John.
Yeah, but just the fact that you notice it.
Yeah.
And this is the effect that Willard can have, and that's his why. You just touched
That's his
and
reason.
got his why.
Yeah.
Because when Willard makes a piece of work, he doesn't do it for him. He hates the process. You know, when I talk to him at 7 o'clock in the morning, midnight at night, when he's so exhausted, he's burst blood vessels in his eyes, he can't sleep, he's breathed things in, you know, someone's opened the door and a draft has completely blown his sculpture away, and he's got to start all over again. You know, that is, the bit that Willard does it for is when you look at it and you go,
that split second,
Willard, how did you do that? That's why he does it.
Yeah.
That's Willard's why. Because throughout his life, he was told, you'll be nothing, you'll become nothing, and you're pretty shit. Yeah, you can't read or write, you're pretty crap.
Yeah.
But he makes these sculptures, and people look and go, wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
And that message is transferable to everyone. Everyone that's watching this is that Willard found something that he was good at and inspired him to become great.
Everyone's good at something.
Individual can find something they're good at. So Willard's message to schools is, if you can't read or write and you're no good at biology and you're at the bottom of class for this and people are telling you crap, do you know what? If you're a great skateboarder, then go and be great on skateboard.
Crack on with a skateboard.
Yeah, if you're a great climber and you're great at climbing trees, then you know what? Head to a mountain.
But you see, a lot of the education kids are getting now, John, they're still very blinkered.
Yeah.
You know, it's like English, geography, maths. You know, you've got to get this to get this job. You've got to do that to get this job. What do I need to be a micro artist?
I think education has its own, I think the government education has its own problem coming. And I think it's coming through the back door and it's coming via AI because every child that's at school right at this moment, so if you're watching this podcast and you're at school, you're about to go through your exams or you're choosing your A-levels, just bear in mind that the job you're thinking you're going to get in 3 to 5 years might not be there in 3 to 5 years.
It might be done by robots.
AI is going to change the landscape.
Yeah.
So we need to be encouraging our young people to be looking ahead and thinking, right, what is AI going to change the landscape? So what do I really need to be good at?
Yeah.
What do I really need to be good at? And what do I feel good about?
Yeah.
Because you're at work a long time.
What makes me want to get up in the morning?
Yeah, what makes me happy? So Willard's real superpower, and he does have a superpower, and actually it's got nothing to do with micro-sculpting. That's where Willard's honed his skill. His real skill is his ability to focus for long periods of time on a single subject, and his amazing dexterity. Now, if you'd imagine back in the 60s and 70s, if someone would have recognized that, Willard would have been in NASA or in atomic science. He'd have been splitting the atom or joining something together that was impossible to be joined by machine and still is, because it needs to be done by human hand. It'd have been in surgery somewhere, in microsurgery, training people for dexterity. And he's had offers from surgeons to ask him, is your level of focus and dexterity trainable? So what's quite profound is with our work in schools and what people approach Willard for, and this is a message for all the kids that are watching this, is Willard has gone from being, like, as he said in his own, wearing the dunce hat in the corner, to actually the teacher. Willard has become the teacher.
Yeah,
so that the world's worst student that they told him he was, you can't read or write, he's now become the best teacher. But he's not teaching geography and biology and history, he's not teaching you how to read or write. Willard's teaching you how to become more focused, how to experience awe, how to have ambition, how to be inspired and how to inspire others, how to be resilient and where you can get with those things. These are life lessons that no matter where you are in life, if you pick one of those, Sean, you pick, say, you know what, fair, okay, so I'm not doing all those, but I'm just going to have one of them, I'm going to become more focused.
Yeah.
How better can your life become by being a bit more focused?
Untold.
Absolutely, you know.
That's immeasurable.
Yeah, immeasurable, yeah, but that's like saying to someone, how better is your life going to get if you get a B in geography instead of the D that you've got?
Yeah.
Well, it's going to make some improvement somewhere, no doubt, you know.
Not really a lot.
No, but if you become more focused,
can change the whole world.
If you become more ambitious, if you have a yearning to inspire someone else or be inspired by someone, and you can definitely become more resilient, how great could your life be?
Yeah.
And you look at Willard, he's achieved greatness. He is the world's best. Let's not underestimate that. He is the world's best micro sculptor, as said by the Guinness Book of World Records.
Ever.
So he's measured.
Yeah.
He has been measured and has met that criteria, and he's become the world's best. So what's to stop someone coming in your gym being infected positively by Willard and saying, "Do you know what, I want to become the next super middleweight champion of the world"?
Yeah.
That's the person you want walking through this door.
Yeah, yeah.
Who walks in here and says, "Sean, help me start me on my journey. I want to become the world's best ever super middleweight boxer."
Yeah.
Who you like?
Yeah.
First thing you got to do,
Come on.
First thing you got to do, son, we got to focus. You got to get out of bed in the morning. That's the first thing you got to do. You got to start looking at your diet.
Focused.
Yeah. You got to start coming to the gym more.
Yeah.
You got to start listening to what I'm telling you.
Yeah.
Because if you keep repeating what you're doing, it was Einstein that said the definition of insanity is doing exactly the same thing each and every day and expecting a different result.
Yeah.
And in some way, Willard, from his 20s through to his 60s when we met, was on that journey. He was repeating the same thing every day and expecting a different result. And in the last 5 to 6 years, we've done things a little bit differently. Willard is still the greatest micro sculptor, but look at what doing things a little bit differently has changed for the world's best.
Yeah.
And that took someone from the outside to look at Willard and think, "Do you know what? Let's not look at the outside of you. Let's look at the inside of you, and let's look at why you do it. And if we can tap into why you do it, maybe we'll change and get some improvement."
And inspire a generation.
And now Willard is in a position where he can inspire others with his life story. And because he's inspiring people, Willard is himself happy.
Yeah.
And his own
He's
happiness.
got that inner contentment.
Yeah.
And you know, John, I will say over the past 18 months, he's getting happier and happier.
Yeah.
It just seems, to me personally anyway, everything about Willard is getting easier.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
But where does it show the most?
In his work.
Absolutely.
In his work.
And there's a great message for people watching this, is that if you're happy within yourself and you're happy doing what you do, then what you do becomes better.
Yeah.
Because you're happy about it and you want the best.
Yeah.
There's nothing wrong with wanting to be the best. You know, there's nothing wrong with that. To have that ambition, say, I want to be the best.
Yeah.
Regardless of what it is, be the best skateboarder. If you're a graffiti artist, be the best one.
Yeah. Ali said it. If you're going to be a dustbin man, be the best in the world.
Absolutely.
Yeah. What a statement.
You know, and Willard is an inspiration because creativity and Willard's art and the way he is, it's not judged. Creativity isn't something that's judged.
No, it can't be judged.
Because you look at art, I mean, you look at some of the most expensive art of all time that's modern art, you look at it and think,
what is that? Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
You know, one of them's like 3 square boxes in different colours.
Yeah.
Sold for multi-millions.
Yeah.
You know, you've got the first NFT that was sold, you know, that was just a load of JPEGs put together. It's profound. But if someone calls it art, you look in the Turner Prize and you look at Willard's work, I'd challenge the artwork to say, why isn't he in the Turner Gallery?
Yeah.
Why? Why isn't he never given a Turner Prize? You know, my son could throw some beer cans on the floor and make a messy bed.
And throw a load of paint on top of it.
And say, brilliant, that's art. And everyone stands around and says, oh, yes, that's art. Amazing. Yeah. Absolutely amazing. The concept, it's brilliant. You know? But you look at what Willard does, 16 hours a day, 7 days a week, 3 to 6 months.
Relentlessly, a relentless quest for greatness.
Yeah. And Willard could be given an award for the most environmentally friendly artist that ever lived.
Yeah.
Because his art is made of nothing.
Yeah, that's right.
And it's often made from bits of nothing, which are rubbish.
Yeah.
And bits that he finds in the air and carpet fibres and within his shirt and things that he shaves off himself.
A bit of porcelain from a broken plate into the yacht.
Yeah.
That's one of my best ones. The whole story to that.
Well, what's nice is, Sean, is I've actually got somewhere where so the other week I picked one of my dinner plates up, and then it slipped out of my hand and smashed on the floor. And my first reaction, because it was part of a 6-piece set, and I wanted to just smash the rest of them. Kind of useless.
Oh my God, that ain't a 6-piece
But what I actually
set
did when
no
I saw it on the floor was I picked it up and thought, I know someone's going to want that.
We both know someone who will want
So I
them
phoned
bits.
Willard and said, Willard, I've got this like deep blue coloured like dinner plate I've just smashed on the floor. I'll have that. So I gave it Willard, and he's carving stuff from it. So brilliant.
He's brilliant. He's just brilliant.
So I just think, well, actually, he's one of the world's most amazing recyclable artists. You know? So, but we see it all the time. You know, going back to his message, we see it all the time, and I hope people will take something from this, that whether it's boxing, whether it's painting, whether it's skateboarding, whether it's climbing
or inspiring,
hills,
whatever
it is Willard is a message to us all that the smallest things in life can have the biggest impact. I mean, you go in front of a lawyer, you're signing a contract, what's the one thing they'll tell you to look out for?
The small print.
The small print. Because it's always buried in the fucking small print. The bit that you didn't think was going to catch you out.
There it is.
It's going to catch you out. All the big print that's in there, it's like, oh yeah, got that clause, got that clause, got that clause. Yeah, but you didn't do clause A, B, 5, 9, C. Well, where the hell was that?
Where's that?
It's just that one there,
small
look.
print.
Yeah, magnifying glass. Oh yeah, that one. That one that's just signed me into like a contract that I didn't know I was into. So it's always in the small print. You know, and take care of the little things. All these.
And the big things just start to happen.
A bee sting, bee stings are tiny, but wow, they kill people.
Oh, they can cause a lot of damage.
Yeah, absolutely. So, that message is important, that from this podcast and from the great work that you do here to inspire young kids, I don't think you probably realise the impact that you have on people, because you're very much the same as Willard. You're inspiring young kids with a message. Your life's been difficult. There's no getting around that. It's been tough. It's been difficult. But it was never too late for you to turn it around.
Never. And it never will be, John. No. If I can make a difference for one.
Absolutely. You get 100 kids come to this door, you get one of them turn around. And he doesn't have to necessarily turn around with you.
Could be 5 years later.
It could be 5 years later that and you see him somewhere else with some really famous boxing promoter, and you think, do you know what?
Fair play to him.
I had a hand in that.
Fair play.
I set him on the road. I was his guide.
That's the bit of job satisfaction.
Even
seeing a young un do what you ask him, and you relentlessly trained him to do, to see him do it naturally. And
we get so much pleasure, Sean, from being in what's classed as underprivileged schools. And we meet up with kids whose parents can't afford to give them lunch money, or kids that they're exactly the same kids that you're talking about, that are in school uniform that was handed down, in schools where the facilities aren't like brilliant.
That's right.
But you've got teachers that are in these schools that are so committed to making a difference. And you've got Willard coming into these schools and you see the lift.
And the teachers are very underrated, John.
Absolutely. And in some of the some of these schools that we visit, without the teachers, I saw a side to Willard that actually brought me and the whole team to tears. It was we'd done a session at the specialist autistic school in Nottingham, and we'd done different levels of autism in the school. Some were very, very challenging, and it's wrong to say that autism isn't challenging, because it's different levels, and depending on what level of autism you've got depends on how challenging things are for you. But we met some incredibly challenging people on that day that had carers either side of them that needed help and support. And you're not seeing them interact with Willard. Was just seeing a light bulb go on, being told that they're amazing at something. You can see the difference. And at the end of the day, the head teacher, Willard was on his way out to school and said to her teacher, I've had a fantastic day with you guys today. You're amazing as teachers. I wish there'd have been more teachers like you when I was a kid. When I was a kid. And they said, would you mind repeating that to our chairman, who's in charge of 30 odd other schools? He'd like to meet you. Is there any chance you could do a Zoom with us at the end of the day? Now, bear in mind, we're on our way out of school. So I said, yeah, no problem. So they phoned the chairman, get him on the line on a laptop. Willard sat with him, and he's talking to Willard. He says, Willard, I've had some reports back from the teachers throughout the day. I've been checking them throughout the day. And I can't believe the amount of students that you've touched. He said, as a visitor, you've got to be careful you say that amount of students that you've touched, but from a
I missed that.
Yes, I just got it myself on. Oh shit, people are going to say, well, what do you mean by that? Because we live in this very politically correct landscape these days. But in that profound way that he's touched people with his story.
Yeah.
And the headmaster was so complimentary of Willard. He said, we've got this student that's done this student that's done that. Teachers come back to me and talked about this. And Willard started crying on this Zoom call, and he just couldn't stop, and he was like embarrassed, and he was hiding behind his hand. And the whole team were like, trying not to, all trying to be big and brave, and tear run down the cheek. And it took Willard about, I would say, a good 5 to 10 minutes to gather himself, and every time he tried to get a word out, he couldn't say it. And this chairman was like, look, well, I'm so sorry, I didn't mean to upset you. I'm not upset. And when he got his words together, he said, I just want to say thank you as the chairman to these specialist schools that are out there. He said, because what I didn't realise is coming back into this environment, I'd forgotten about this environment, and being here today with these children has reminded me of my childhood and have brought up feelings that I've suppressed. He said, but what I'd like to say is I really wish that in my time I had teachers like you've got here today that are looking after these children and that are actually encouraging them to be better. He said, because what I see in here when I walk into this room is I see a room full of diamonds in dustbins.
Yeah. I was just waiting for that. I see a room full of me.
He said, I see a room full of diamonds in the dustbins. He said, and today I'm just lifting the lid on each one to say in there, inside you, there's a diamond.
Yeah.
You just need to discover it. You need to polish it a little bit. You need to let it shine. And regardless of what that diamond is, it's there. And it was so, I've not seen Willard that way. I've never seen Willard crying he's an emotional character.
But you see, I think with his drive, ambition, focus, however many positives you want to put into what pushes him on, he's got such a way with some words sometimes what are so powerful. Even some of the phone calls, John, I'm Willard, you should write that down. Oh, I forgot it in 2 minutes. No, write it down now, mate. He says some things to me, John, and I'm like, mate, that's so powerful. You need to write these down. I'd rather just let it come out naturally. And you're like,
you touch on something interesting because at the start of the podcast you were talking about technology and how you're a bit of a self-confessed technophobe yourself, where you don't really get it, and a lot of people out there don't get it. But you look at, I can't read or write. He can write a little, so he's wrong to say he can't totally not write, because he can write words, but he couldn't write a coherent sentence or a book or a story or a paragraph. He couldn't do that. He could write his name, or he could write and is to be, he could write that. But if you asked him, if I dictated something to him and asked him to write it down, he couldn't do it. If he had to read a script, he couldn't do it.
Yeah.
People say to me with that is, does that affect how you and Willard communicate together? But Willard has used technology in a way far better than I do. So for instance, everything we do between us is on WhatsApp.
Yeah.
Okay. But what Willard does is, he can't type WhatsApp, but he records
voice
his
messages. Yeah.
Now, the beauty of that is, I'm lazy. I type. Morning, Sean. How are you?
Yeah.
Hope you had a good night.
Yeah.
You can look at that message and think, what the fuck do you mean by that?
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, but
and
a
then,
voice message.
Yeah, and then you respond in a way that's like, and I think, hang on a minute, Sean, are you being a bit of a dick here?
Yeah.
And then before you know it, we're having a WhatsApp argument.
Yeah, because there's no emotion in it.
We fell out. I've got no idea what you meant, but I know instantly when Willard messages me whether he's happy, upset, agitated, angry, excited, because he records his voice.
Yeah, and you can feel.
And I know. Do I need to call him right now? Is he excited? Is he bothered? Is he upset?
Yeah.
So Willard has learnt to use technology because of his change of abilities. He's had to use technology, and he now uses it better than me, because that's the way he has to use it, and but his way is better.
Yeah, and more, I suppose, more advantageous.
Yeah.
Because of the feeling, what he's putting across in that message. What you don't get in a text.
So I don't guess whether is he pissed off? Is he upset? Is he agitated? Is he happy? I don't have to guess.
You know.
Anyway, in his voice.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
if it had just sent me a text, I'd be looking at it thinking, what's he about?
yeah.
But we all do it. How many times have you fell out with someone by text?
Yeah.
That's a small thing. I mean, how many times have you looked at a text, and everyone watching this podcast will have done it. It's like, you look at a text, and you think, what the fuck does he mean by that?
What does he mean by that?
And
Is he having a dig here or what?
Or it's normally either one of your best mates or it's a woman. You know what I mean? And you're like, what the fuck does that mean?
Yeah, you bang on there.
And then you respond back with something a little bit on the edge, and then you've upset them.
Yeah, and then you're
like, what the fuck do you mean by that? Before you know it, everyone's at this position where you're falling out. But I don't get that with Willard.
No.
He doesn't do that. So his, you know, what teachers told him was, you know, a disability.
It's turned into
a major ability.
Yeah.
And Willard's whole life is about turning his adversity into success.
Yeah, that's right.
You know, he's used the tools of his adversity to make success.
Totally agree. But he wouldn't have been able to do it without the team.
We're all part of a big team, and I think small things matter. You know, life, humanity.
Yeah.
And I think that's one thing that's lacking is a bit of humanity.
Yep.
You know,
being kind.
Being kind to someone. You know, it's simple stuff.
Yeah.
My son will tell you, he came down on the motorway today to come and meet you, and a guy undertook me, right? And I could have got into a situation where I'm on the outside of him and I'm trying to block him in, so he couldn't get out.
Go.
But he undertook me, and then traffic came, and I thought, should I? I thought, no, just hang back, let him get out. And do you know what? He put his four ways on, put his hand up to the mirror, and said thank you.
Yeah.
If I'd have gone to the side of him, you know, before you know it, would have been on the odd shoulder.
Yeah, it could have been a totally different.
Fall out with each other.
Yeah.
You know, but it just goes to show that in all areas of your life, you can make a small thing count, and we're all part of one team, and it's called the humanity team.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter like what race, religion, creed, colour, religion you follow.
Yeah.
The basis of what we all are is we're all human.
Yeah.
And if there's a little bit, just a little bit more humanity out there, how better would life be?
That's right.
How better would it be to have a little bit of humanity?
Just being a little bit kinder.
And that's what me and Willard and the team have become, is we've got a great deal of humanity between us and a great deal of respect for each other. We couldn't do it, the team couldn't do it without Willard because he's the world's greatest and the world's best at what he does.
But Willard couldn't do it without the team.
Couldn't do it without us.
Yeah.
You know?
And teamwork makes the dream work.
Absolutely.
End of.
And I think no matter where you are in life, that counts. If you're at school, you're part of a team.
Yeah.
The teachers are part of your team.
Yeah, he's on your team.
Are part of your team.
They're all on your team.
They're all on your team. No one wakes up in the morning and thinks, you know what, I'm going to shaft you today.
Yeah,
you know?
and a lot of, you see, this is where a lot of the kids coming through now, that they seem to think that, these people are against me. No, they're your team.
Yeah.
Work with them and they'll work with you. You know,
But it starts with kindness, Sean.
Yeah,
and
definitely.
It's difficult. I mean, you're a tough guy, Sean.
Yeah.
There's no doubt about that, you know. And there's a lot, for me, some of the toughest characters I know are the kindest.
Yeah.
And a gentleman.
Softest.
And that's what I think, you know, a lot of young kids forget, is that they think to be tough, you've got to walk around with your chest out.
No.
You've got to bang everyone out in the street. You've got to be the hardest guy in there.
No.
It's not like you can be that. You can be the hardest person there, but you can also be the kindest and the nicest
and
person.
the most caring.
Where people can come to you and say, do you know what, I've got a problem.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
No problem. I'll help you.
We do like a drop-in thing here for kids, John.
Yeah.
You don't have to come in a box. Just come in and talk.
Yeah.
Just come in and talk.
Great.
You got any problems? Just come in and talk.
Great.
We get kids in here talking the biggest load of shit.
Yeah.
But at least they're coming.
At least they're in.
To talk.
Yeah.
You know, because rather than sit at home and bottle it all up and, you know, get all agitated and angry, just come in, let it out.
Yeah.
And it just seems to work.
And it's a small thing, Sean.
Tiny little thing.
Inviting, you know, having your doors open, inviting kids in, somewhere to come.
Yeah.
Because like I said earlier, there aren't any youth clubs these days.
Nothing.
There aren't any places for you to go.
No.
You know, why is society like surprised that our young kids are going off the rails in different places? Because, well, where are we putting them?
Yeah.
We're not putting them on rails.
What are we showing them?
Yeah, what do we demonstrate to them?
Yeah.
You know, you go out for dinner and you're looking at a family of people, no matter what kind of background these people are from, they're all sat on the phone.
Yeah.
They're not talking to each other.
No, there's no interaction. And I think this is where the early intervention side of things really should be kicking off, because If we can get them before they get into that rut of, no, sorry, mate, I'm on. If we could get just an avenue for them, just a little escape, what can open up a massive,
You've got a set of boxing gloves on, you can't use your phone.
You
can't, you know.
Last night, put that phone away. He was getting a phone out of his bag halfway through the class. I was like, no.
But you get to Willard's exhibition at Willerton Hall. You don't see anyone walking
With their
around
phone
with a
on.
mobile phone. Everyone's like looking at the world saying, wow, when they're talking to each other. You've got complete strangers stand next to each other saying, did you see that? It's like, yeah, amazing. Have you seen the Einstein has actually got a belt? People are like, no.
I've seen them.
I didn't see that. He's got glasses in his, actual glasses in the lenses. No, he hasn't. Yeah, he has.
Look.
Go around and look. Bloody hell, I didn't notice. You've got complete strangers talking to each other. Come and have a look at this. You know what I mean? You've got kids saying, Mum, Mum's in here. You know,
they're all going for a meal after it together.
Yeah, it's profound.
Yeah,
and
beautiful.
And around Nottingham, I'm forever like, you can hear conversation with people that says, oh, you was in that exhibition in Nottingham with that. Like, if I can't remember his name, it's like, you know, like guy that puts stuff in the eyes and needles. Like, and the first thing they say to me was like, it's bloody amazing.
Yeah.
Kids loved it, you know what?
Yeah.
Kept him quiet for about an hour. You know what I mean? It's like brilliant. Because it's for the whole family.
That's right.
And if you can go to that exhibition and just see that the smallest thing in that room has had a massive impact on you.
That's right, yeah.
If you can take that away into your life, and you can go away and make a small positive change, whether it's for you or for someone else, if you can get on that path and do it, I think his work can change you into a person that becomes a bit kinder and a bit more thoughtful. Because once you've done one kind act, you don't stop there, do you?
No.
Once you've done one thoughtful thing, because being thoughtful and kind actually feels good.
Yeah.
And
And human nature is to snowball.
Yeah.
If we're enjoying something and something comes back positive for us, we will snowball. This is our nature as humans.
Yeah, you can do something tiny. You can knock on your neighbour's door and say, hi, do you need anything?
Yeah.
You know.
I'll tell you to piss off.
Exactly. But I asked.
But, all right, mate. Thank you.
Yeah, I asked. You know, so little things and you know, we'll go right back to the start of the podcast. We talked about Willard and his why. Well, that's why.
Yeah.
Because Willard is the ambassador and president of small things. Name someone else worldwide. So you've got, you know, the most famous narrating voice in natural world. Who would you say it is?
David Attenborough.
David Attenborough, there you go. And I think no matter what country, what language you speak, if you were sat in any room,
David.
someone would say David Attenborough.
Yeah.
Wouldn't they?
Yeah, you'd know Dave.
Well, Willard is the same voice for small things.
Yeah, Mike Collins.
And I think his voice should be listened to. I think government should get behind him. I think people should get behind him as someone that is out there with a message that small things matter, because the big things are going to take a long time to change. If we're all going to wait for Amazon, McDonald's, America, China, Russia, if we're all going to wait for those to make our life better, we'll be waiting for bloody ever.
We will die.
We'll wait forever. But we could all, if we all realised that, you know, these online retailers, people are lazy these days. You don't go shopping anymore.
No.
Then you've got people moaning that, well, the high street's dead. Well, you're the same people that are online shopping.
Yeah, that's right.
The high street's dead.
Yeah.
People can't keep shops open if you don't go shopping.
Fresh grocery shops just shut.
Yeah.
So get it all processed.
Absolutely.
It's
crazy. So, you know, people complain about these things but don't realise we're part of the problem.
Yeah.
So maybe you need to shop online a little bit less. Maybe you need to find someone local that you can buy something from.
Get off your backside.
Yeah, because it's convenient. We live in a convenient lifestyle where, you know, back in the day you ordered something, it was like 7 days delivery. You just accepted it. And then
maybe more.
And then if it turned up by post, you know, it was like 3 days.
Yeah.
And so you could wait 2 weeks something. Now people want it the same day.
I can remember the old VHS videos?
Yeah.
I can remember ordering fights. We're getting them 6 weeks later, sent over from America. Yeah. So, you know, the speed of everything now is just so...
But we live in an instant society, don't we, where you expect everything instantly, and people relate that to change the same.
Yeah, but life skill results, John, can never come instantly.
No. But you expect it, don't you? Because we live in that society where we get everything within the hour or next day, you think, right, if I stop doing this today, it'll be better tomorrow.
Yeah.
You know, well, that's not real.
No.
You know, it's not.
It's
it takes
reality.
a little bit of time.
Yeah.
So, you know, I think Willard, ambassador and president of small things, he has got the smallest message that could be the biggest thing that people can listen to.
Yeah.
And it could be the biggest impact that it has on your life, your family, your friends.
Yep.
Just
and you didn't even know it was there.
You didn't even know it was there. And it's inspired by this humble guy from Brum.
Yeah.
You know, let's put it real. The humble guy from Brum is the world's best micro sculptor.
Untouchable.
Yeah. There isn't anyone that can get a sculpture smaller than him.
No.
Humble guy from Brum. You know, he's got a message.
You can be whatever you want to be.
Go and see his exhibition. I'd really love from this podcast someone picks up someone from Eden or some other place comes up and says, you know what, I'd love a piece of Disappearing World, because we get visitors in and that message is so powerful, it fits in. We want it to fit in where the message from where the establishment that it's in is there as well. So people are getting there and it's like, wow, amazing. I'm going to do something small. Yeah. Because it will start small.
Snowballing,
and it will get big. And I think that's where Willard has been going his whole life, is small things.
And building up to something massive.
Well, it's led up to something massive here, hasn't it?
Yeah. John, we're going to finish off with just a couple of quick fire questions. Wow. For yourself.
Go on.
Favourite food?
Ooh, favourite food. Steak.
Steak. Well done, medium? Rare?
I actually had a medium fillet steak last night, so it was straight on my mind. I can still taste it actually today. But in saying that, it is my favourite food, but I don't eat it that often. So, and it's probably because it is my favourite, because I don't eat it that often.
Yeah, I'm a once a month, twice a month red meat man.
Maybe I don't kind of measure it, but last night fillet steak was the first one I've had for ages. So
it's beautiful.
So you enjoy it.
Yeah.
You know, you're supposed to have it every night.
It's beautiful. Okay, favourite music.
Favourite music? Oh God, I've got such an eclectic, I'll listen to anything. So I was listening to some 80s and 90s music the other day on a playlist on my Spotify, because that just took me back to what I was doing at them times. And you look at 80s and 90s music and it changed an era of people.
Changed the world.
So I like all kinds of stuff. When I'm training, I like people like Nate Flurin and I like a bit of Eminem, and I like my kind of rap music, but I like meaningful rap music where people are telling stories through the lyrics. And it's encouraging. You know what I mean? And it's talking through something rather than it just being bashing at each other. There's not much I don't like. I like classical music, so.
Favourite holiday destination?
Favourite holiday destination? I would say Singapore.
Yeah.
And I would say Singapore because it's a place I've only been to once, but it was profoundly beautiful, amazingly clean, and they were the first people to ban chewing gum in public and smoking in public. And you thought that, the pubs in the UK, when they banned smoking in the UK, thought the industry was going to collapse. But it was such a clean, lovely environment. And out of all, I've been to loads of great places, but it's the one place that stands out because it was pristine. So.
Singapore. First time I've ever heard that.
So I could have said something easy, I love the beach in Spain. I do like all those things. But when I look about, a destination that's had an impact on me. Singapore's had an impact on me. Small things.
Favourite sports person?
Sports person? I think I'd have to have Tyson up there as one of my favourite people. Fury, I've just been watching the programme actually, the Netflix series,
everyone's watching it. I haven't.
I've learned a lot more about him because of that. And I respect him. I didn't, before I saw that sort of documentary about his life, I had a different impression of who he was in my mind. And you look at the show.
But the media. The media, pushes you into the thoughts of someone what is totally the opposite of what they really are.
He just looks to me like a real guy.
He's
enjoyed himself.
I love the Jeep he drives the kids to school in.
Just keeping it real and just gets the caravan out and go camping down the road. And kids go camping. And then he's driving his Ferrari down the high street in Morecambe.
It's great.
Really? Why aren't you living in LA? I quite like it, Morecambe.
I'm on the seaside, got to be. Lovely.
Brilliant, a few chips for the kids.
So,
Tyson, because he did exactly what he said it on the tin.
And he's gone through a whole load of...
He was the world's smallest heavyweight, Black shorts, no razzmatazz, get in the ring.
No music.
Bang them out, get out.
Go home. Don't get paid overtime.
No, just get in there, get it done.
Yeah.
So, and I think, that says something for the confidence level
Yeah.
of being able to do that.
But he wasn't really an overly confident kid, you know.
No, strangely enough.
You know, I've got a good friend, well, you know Joe anyway, Joe Egan.
Yeah.
But some of the things Joe's told me about Mike, it was like, he wasn't really overly confident as an athlete.
Yeah.
But yeah, bit of an impact he made.
Absolutely.
On everybody.
Look at has there ever been another heavyweight boxer that did what he did?
No, not as young as he did it.
Went through the people that he did?
No, not. And there won't ever be, I don't think, John.
No. And because boxing is such a lonely sport,
Yeah,
and it's just about you.
that's right.
I think I've got to say, regardless of what you look at that life and what he became and what went through and you know what the media report and where he's doing now,
Yeah.
you know, you think, well, actually, your question was about sport, and you think about what did he do for the sport of boxing?
He elevated boxing.
Absolutely.
He totally took it into the stratospheres.
Absolutely.
I don't think there was anybody, go back to the 1987s, the 88s, nobody in the world went to bed early when he was fighting. We all stayed up.
Yeah, absolutely.
Everyone was up.
Because you're going to be entertained.
Yeah, even if it was only for 30 seconds, we stayed up. Do you know what I mean?
And if it wasn't a knockout, it was going to be a good fight.
Yeah, or very brutal fight.
It was going to be a good fight.
But John, thank you very much.
John,
Absolutely brilliant. Pleasure, mate.
thanks for inviting me. Keep doing the great work.
Thank you very much. Just like to finish on thanking S&D Paving once again. Thank you very much for your backup and your sponsorship. Thank you.
Love it.